My question to everybody is, have you ever felt embarrassed about your heritage? Whether it's your look, whether it's the language, whether it's your parents speaking the language, or any of their own
idiosyncrasies.
Whatever
I said, right?
Well, at one point, I remember one time we were going to a ceremony. I had to wear like an African attire, the daishiki. I felt a little embarrassed because I was the only guy in my age group who had that attire on. So I felt like I was not part of the crowd. So
how old were you then?
I think I was about 15, 16 then.
Oh, okay.
And it was down here. So not at, around at that time, not many people have those attires or wear those kind of attires at several events. So I felt like I was not in the crowd. I was.
Okay, Paul, you look kind of young. So when you said at that time, are you saying you're in your 30s or 40s?
No. I'm 22 now. That was a couple of years ago.
Okay.
But there's something about our native attire that makes you stand out.
Of course.
You get those compliments
Of
from
course.
people saying how well you look and how well you're dressed.
And now I do understand them more when I've grown older because, the attire is unique. So everywhere, whenever you wear it and you go a certain place, you go to certain places. So people will, ask you where this come from, all the pretty much, and you get a lot of compliments. So those are all good attributes to our culture. So.
What about you, Kimmy? Anything embarrass you?
More so when I was younger, like growing up in school, just with my father, it was more so his accent, and when my friends used to call the house or something, they never could understand what he was saying. And I remember they used to always ask, Kimmy, how do you understand what he's saying? And it never, sounded any different to me, but more so with that, and maybe probably the name calling growing up. I used to run from it a lot. I used to get tired of correcting people and, things like that. But that was then. So now,
you're cool with
good.
it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Priscilla, what about you?
Well, I'm not really embarrassed by it, because everybody's embarrassed by their family. But you can say that.
Do you have to wear those native outfits? Do you like them?
Well,
Like Pa said, he was embarrassed wearing them at 15. You're not yet 15,
no,
and I know you've worn
yeah.
them.
I don't like wearing them.
You don't like wearing them. Carolyn?
I was embarrassed when I first got here. I was personally with me, I had a really, of course, like every African that come here, I had a really strong accent. So when I was in school, people would make fun of me because of that. And then I was my skin complexion was so dark, so they would always make fun of me because of that. And then I was embarrassed with my dad because he had such a strong accent. As long as he'd been here, his accent was so thick. So I had like a whole bunch of embarrassment when I was in middle school and elementary school. But now it's like, oh, he's just my dad, And I learned to accept that because I know I can't change it. So I was definitely embarrassed for a couple of years. Yeah.
And I don't think it's so much being embarrassed about your father, like you and Kemi said. It's more trying to hide them from your friends.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not embarrassed about your actual father or your parents.
Yeah.
It's how would your friends take
it.
his accent or accept him or look at him. So that's what it was.
Sure.
Same question to you?
To me, well, growing up in the early '90s, yes, yes, I was gonna say I was extremely bad. I almost pretty much hid that part of my upbringing.
Really?
Like a lot of people, even though they knew I was Nigerian by name, my actions were not that of a Nigerian. I pretty much wanted to fit in because I felt so embarrassed. Because then growing up, then the type of name calling they would give you, the type of harassment they would give you it was brutal. It was brutal as a middle school. Early high school. By the time I was, I say, sophomore year, was when, when teacher pulled me to the side and saw me going in another direction and said, look, you need to realize that you're different from everyone else. Like, you have culture, and you need to understand where you come from. And when it hit me, when it dawned on me that this is a serious affair, and I started actually finding out on my own and started really listening to what my parents were telling me, started identifying more with my culture, that's when I started saying, okay, you know what, maybe I need to identify myself. Yes, I am a Nigerian. Pronounce my name as Ahiman. Don't call me whatever you feel like you can call me. So from that point on, I think I started growing into it. I started being more comfortable about it. And then by the time I got to college, I actually started hanging around other Nigerians, other Africans, and I started seeing that, wow, this this is nice. You know, this is cool. So ever since then, yes.
And even in college, they have those African.
So yeah.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
So.
And it's interesting that you mentioned the name. Your name is your identity, and when a person calls you by your name, and you answer to that name, it kind of molds you. It shapes you into what you are. And so sometimes when people call you by the wrong name and you don't correct it, you know, it dampens your spirit. So when you now get the freedom to say, oh, my name is not for you, it's not Ehime or whatever they say, it's this. You know, do you have any experience with that? Do you want to share, Caroline?
No, I really, because, you know, my name is so Caucasian.
Yeah, what's your middle name? We're talking about your middle name.
Yeah, but my middle name in middle school, they really, you know, here in the American system, they just use your first and last name.
Right.
So my middle name really wasn't said, but when it was just with family and didn't know how to pronounce it. So I really never had a problem with name. You know, so, because my family knew how to pronounce my name, and people outside didn't know my middle name.
Okay, so you didn't have that struggle. Rizzola, did you have the struggle at all?
Well, no, not really, because my full name is Maurice, but I just tell everybody to call me Rizzola.
Okay.
It's easier.
Okay. And Kemi, yours is nice and easy, so.
Yeah, but the last name, they can butcher that too. You know, I've gotten called almost everything under the sun.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah.
Oh, wow. So I know you said earlier that you used to correct.
Yeah.
Do you still find that you have to do that?
Well, you know, now people, I guess, since it's so mixed here and they see a lot of different names, they try to pronounce it themselves or they try to take a stab at it. But for the most part, more adults now can sound it out or, you know, and if they still don't, I'll just correct them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pa?
Yes, I think I experience wrong name calling every day. Just what just happened today when I got here. See, my name is actually two words, but they go together. That's my first name. It's Pa Amadou. You see, in West Africa, you see, there are many West African names also Amadou, but you know, mine is Pa Amadou. So you have to put them together, and my last name also. So I get called the wrong names at work, at school, pretty much everywhere I go. My last name also is Sane, but a lot of people pronounce it Sane. You know, so I experience that pretty much on a daily basis.
And I'm guilty of that because I call you just Pa, and yet it's Pa Amadou.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, so
I guess we all living in this society, being Africans. One thing a lot of Americans don't understand is they always ask, why do you have more than one name? And that's because we're baptized with one name, so we all have English names. Then we have our African heritage names, you know. So I go by Florence because that's my baptismal name. My Nigerian name is Olajumoke, but I don't want people to butcher my name.
right.
You know, they shorten it to J, to Jumi, to Jumoke. So it's like, you know, if you don't want them to mispronunciate your name, then you just want to give them a shorter version,
Right.
so that they'll
Right.
pronounce it right.
Right.
You
So
know?
they a lot of people just call me PA.
That's it.
So it goes well with Pa Amadou.
Yeah, it's better than them butchering it.
Okay, guys, so let's get real for a minute. What about your African culture do you not like? Let's start with you, Amy.
I do not like. There's a lot of it I like. The only thing I would say I didn't like was pretty much the pressure they put on me.
Okay.
Especially as in my case as a firstborn son. Like the amount of pressure that is on me to perform is incredible.
Wow.
And sometimes, you know, you sometimes you have to sit back and you say, look, let me live my own life. Let me do as I want, you know. But I would say that's the only thing that to me is a drawback, because for me it's a learning experience. I'm still, because I'm really actually going back or going for the first time essentially. So I'm actually learning my culture.
Okay.
You know, so for me, I'm actually learning what am I supposed to do. But so I still have room to grow to find out what exactly is included in my culture.
Okay.
So the only thing I would just say is just the level of pressure that is on me. That's pretty much the only thing.
Pa Amadou.
Yes, I would say when it comes to the question of liberty, when you talk about liberty within family, you know, especially in an African household, your parents don't really want you to leave the household. They want everybody in one big household. They want everybody, especially my parents say that as a man, you know, you're supposed to stay home, and if you have brothers, you and your brothers are supposed to all stay home and have wives or be married all in one big household. So yeah, and then when it comes to in terms of education. Their education is very, you know, is very esteemed in the African household.
Yeah.
So that's top priority. But then what I've learned when I came here, what I've learned in America is that not everybody needs to, you know, go to college or anything like that. You can be successful without a degree from school and things of that nature. So those are pretty much just some of the things that I don't like so much, but you know, I've learned to accept that.
Okay. Having said that about education, though, he is still pursuing education.
Of course. So I mean, African.
Gotta go to school.
Yes. So Kemi, what do you not
I
like?
was just sitting here trying to think. Some things that I don't like. I can't really say it's something that I don't like. Like growing up, since it was one culture over here and one culture over here, it was kind of liberal as far as, you know, how we were brought up.
Yeah,
He didn't really force the Nigerian culture, all the beliefs and all that onto us.
And we should mention that you have a unique situation in that your mom is actually American. So
she's
do you
American.
think that's why you had that atmosphere that's different than?
I think so.
Okay.
I think my mom played a lot into it. You know, and I used to go to her a lot for, you know, just because I really couldn't relate to the Nigerian side. I was more so relating to her side and her family, and so I went to her a lot, and we were closer. But now, as I get older, it's kind of reversing.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't really dislike anything about the culture.
Okay. Is there anything you don't like about the culture, Rizal?
Well, I don't like that the dresses that you have to wear.
Okay. That they make you wear.
Regular parties and stuff.
You'll appreciate that later.
Yeah, you will.
So Carolyn, is there anything you don't like about it?
Like she was saying, I was trying to think. Mainly what Pa Amadou said, basically liberty. You know, a lot of African parents like want their kids to just wait before they leave, or you know, just before they basically leave the nest. So I think that's like one thing that I really don't like about the culture. Apart from that, I don't like how we're so loud, but that's just I think that's just everybody, because I've met so many different Africans and from different countries, and all of us are just loud. You can be like right next to each other and just really loud. So apart from that, I really don't like. I really like everything else about the culture. So
Okay.
I think I have an excuse for us being so loud. and I might just be making excuses for us, but it's so noisy back in Africa that you've got to speak above the noise. And then we come here and we don't remember that it's okay to lower your voices. I don't know.
I don't know, but
Well, since Caroline speaks a different language other than English, I'm going to ask her to say, we'll be right back.
you're busy, yeah.